Let's speak tonight with the CEO of the Construction Industry Development Board, Bongani Dladla, who will speak to us about the South African construction industry performance shortly. But there's also a lot to catch up on, Bongani, with an event that you're hosting in the coming days. But I want to start with you, if I can, with what the Finance Minister said today in the mini-budget, which I would imagine is good news for your industry, more investment in infrastructure, including these plans for a 15 billion rand infrastructure bond in the coming months.
It's quite important for the country and the economic growth because, infrastructure has shown that it creates jobs. With the latest jobs numbers, almost half of it came from infrastructure. And it also helps increase investment because it has a significant multiplier effect and also allows us to have the roads, the rails, the water to ensure that businesses can thrive. A country can be seriously constrained if we don't have the core infrastructure around water, energy, transport, and those other services. So it's quite an important development, and we welcome it as a sector.
And your industry is already doing better than most. From the third quarter unemployment figures released yesterday by Stats South Africa, we found out that, in fact, the construction sector in just the third quarter of this year managed to create about 130,000 jobs. What is driving those success levels at a time when other industries, in fact, are either seeing a depression or total decline?
It is this relentless effort on ensuring that we stop site invasions and we stop any criminal activities on site. And then there's also an aspect of building a solid pipeline of projects and assisting clients, infrastructure clients, both private and public sector, to get through all the loopholes they need to go through. Because once you get projects on the ground, we have a significant multiplier effect in terms of employment and other businesses that it will support in the area.
So just on the issue of criminality, the construction mafia is a term that entered South Africa's lexicon not too long ago. I think at the beginning of this year or late last year, the current Minister of Public Works, Dean McPherson, had reported progress in arrests of people who were interfering or extorting money from construction companies. More than 200 people, I think, might have been the figure at the time. I don't know where it is now, but perhaps on that point you can give us a better idea, a better sense of how much progress has been made on clamping down on that sort of criminality.
Since a year from now, more than 700 arrests have been made, and some prosecutions, nearly 200, have gone through the process of actually finding convictions. And what happens now is that more and more stakeholders in the construction industry are relying on the formal channels due to the partnerships with the SABC that were reached in the similar summit that we held last year in Durban, where there was a partnership between SABC, Public Works, and also National Treasury in ensuring that as much as we clamp down on the criminal activities on construction sites, but there are also meaningful avenues for development, subcontracting opportunities for genuine construction companies on site, so that we remove the legitimacy of the bad actors claiming that they are doing this in the name of transformation.
And construction mafia is a general term, but from the arrests that have been made, what have you as an industry been able to glean or learn about who is behind this sort of crime? And ultimately, how will your upcoming National Construction Summit help in a way to craft an even better response?
The main aspect here is that, if there's going to be any killing of people or stopping using illegal means, and those that go to site to say we are demanding protection fees, those are bad actors. They are not interested in doing work in the construction industry. And as a dedicated hotline was established precisely for that, so those cases can be reported. And a national task team that was established by police with all the stakeholders from large infrastructure clients, regulators like ourselves and others, formed part of that to ensure that the response strategies that the police are employing is aligned to industry norms of what we consider bad actors in the sector.
But the industry has not itself been a blameless lamb here, because there have been multiple reports. When you look at the public sector, delays, cost overruns, some of them were told are deliberate because companies basically want to maximize profits, right? They will then get from charging the government more to build homes, roads, etc. In what way is the summit going to help to reach a point where there is an even more ethical construction industry on its own?
you've touched to the main purpose of the summit. We need to come as industry stakeholders, the 1,200 people that will be joining us here today, from infrastructure clients, contractors, industry associations, as to what should be the minimum reporting standards in terms of performance of the sectors. Because when there is no data, credible data as to how different stakeholders are performing, it becomes an area where there could be no accountability. We've also started moving on unethical contractors by deregistering 40 contractors in the sector that were not performing on projects or that submitted fraudulent documents during a procurement process or when they interact with us. So we are doing these to ramp up those efforts to ensure that there is proper accountability by the various stakeholders without forgetting the developmental mandate that allows new entrances to the construction industry to have an opportunity to thrive and get access to projects. So that's what we are going to be focusing on.
Right.
I anticipate that some of the outcomes will be reporting mechanism, digital reporting mechanisms of each and every single project and all the stakeholders, so that we will know where the delays are emanating from and have accountability processes, including for both public sector players, clients, infrastructure clients, and obviously contractors and consultants that are involved in infrastructure projects.
And who is benefiting from the current success of the construction industry, notwithstanding the multiple challenges at the moment? Has the industry, for instance, transformed enough?
If you compare from, say, 4 or 5 years ago, where at grade 9, we're looking at 30-40% in terms of black-owned construction companies, now we are above 50%. So efforts to ensuring genuine participation by designated groups is helping to transform the industry. What we need to work on now is to ensure that the concentration of projects amongst the few large contractors is dealt with in a way that is still encourages competition, but competition that will enable the industry to be sustainable. So a lot of SMMEs are benefiting based on the standards that we've gazetted as the CIDB. If you look at projects, clients like Sandral, for instance, you will see that 40%, 30 to 40% of the project expenditure on some of these iconic projects that we see across the country are going towards SMMEs in those local areas.
Good to talk to you, Bongani Dladla, CEO of the Construction Industry Development Board, speaking to us, by the way, on the eve of the National Construction Summit in Gauteng. That'll happen tomorrow from the 13th until the 14th of November.